Oh, hey there. Welcome to the Ope-Eh Three-Way Wrestling Podcast. This is Brandon along with Donnie and Pierce. As always, we're going to keep it a little light and easy today. Easy like Thursday evening. Donnie, what do we got on the agenda?
Oh, we got the old on this day that we kicked off on our last show. Pierce is going to cover that, and then we're just going to be the egomaniacs that we are and talk about ourselves. We're going to talk about how we got into wrestling, any sort of early memories that we've had, talk about our first live show, and then we're just going to talk about how we all got together and ended up in Philly and how we ended up getting this show together. So it'll be a little bit lighter this week. Looking forward to getting that started. And Pierce, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Egomania is running wild over here.
Let me tell you something, brother. Speaking of which,
We're
he's
out
doing
here in
something today.
Wisconsin, Derry.
Yeah, he's up to some stuff today. So is that out in Wisconsin? Is that out your way?
What?
Yeah, Milwaukee.
It's in Milwaukee. Okay, yeah, because Hulk Hogan's speaking at the GOP convention, right?
Yeah, he sure is. It's such a weird combo.
Yeah, it's okay. I think who else is supposed to be there? Linda McMahon's supposed to be there, and Dana White as well, if I'm not mistaken. They're all speaking today.
Well, Dana White he's a good friend of Mr. Donnie Trump. Linda McMahon was in his cabinet or something like that, right?
I am not going to pretend to know very much about.
I think they were affiliated in some way, shape, or form.
She had some political position in the Trump administration. I remember that. I don't know for sure what it was.
Well,
You also got the
go ahead. Sorry.
big red mayor. Oh, I was going to say you also got the big red mayor Kane up in these neck of the woods here too.
Is
Shaking
he?
hands.
He's Is he a libertarian or is he actually Republican now? Because I know when he started, he was libertarian, right?
I know he fully endorses Trump for presidency. He has been the one to espouse more libertarian policies, Keynesian economics, and things of that nature. Very well spoken guy. I don't know if you've seen him when he was on The Weakest Link, but dude's been very smart for a very long time. I think it's cool that he's actually exercising some of that stroke in the political realm. I mean, he's doing a really good job.
And in his
But
big red brain.
big red intelligence.
I know. I will say that when I was at now here we are skipping ahead here a little bit, but when I went to SummerSlam 2022, that was in Nashville, right? And he got
Hmm.
brought out during that show, and despite being in Tennessee, which is I think he's the mayor of Knoxville, right? Or
Knox
is it
County.
Knox
Knox
County?
County.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. Excuse me. But there was a mixed reception for him at
I mean, some of
SummerSlam
the
2022.
things
So
he says online are a bit out there, but we don't need to get too political.
no, we're not turning this into the political
What?
debate podcast, but
I thought that's the theme for today, fellas. What are we doing?
I'm going to need
we'll save that for
Hey, speak-
November.
beers
speaking
on my
speaking of
pad.
my favorite wrestler growing up, Kane. I want to talk about Kane some more.
I mean, guy was
No, I'm just
jacked.
kidding.
Can't say I blame you if it was, but
Hmm.
let's do the on this day segment. Insert Metalingus clip here.
I can't play guitar, so that's the best we're going to get.
That was fantastic.
You did great, Pierce. Keep it up.
Well, we'll run it back to 2021, the year where Kane headlined the WWE Hall of Fame, funnily enough.
Hmm.
On this day, Money in the Bank 2021, the first show in, I believe it was a year and a half, that had a full crowd of fans.
Yep.
WrestleMania, I believe, had half fans this year, but this was
Yeah.
the first time that they could fully bring people back into the arena. Everybody's very happy. I mean, Big E won the Money in the Bank briefcase for the men. That makes everybody happy. We don't want to talk about his reign after that because that makes people sad.
Oh yeah.
Nikki
I was
ASH won women's. Sorry, Brandon.
Mm-mm. Not at all. No, I was just saying I was really holding out hope for something great for Big E coming out of that. I mean, he did win the title. But I've been a Biggie mark for a long time, and I was really,
Because he's just
I
the
don't know.
best.
He's such a good guy. Like everything you see him, like his the power of positivity. Like that's not just a shtick to sell T-shirts. Like that guy is actually he's so nice, and he
Oh
just
yeah,
seems so genuine. I got to meet him once, again in Nashville, SummerSlam weekend, and guy was just super pleasant, just happy to be around people and happy to be doing stuff all the time. Like, and I mean, he's still going now, despite after his awful accident that happened. But
I guess he got some of those stem cells jiggling around in his body now after a trip down to Cancun.
Yeah, with MVP.
Yeah, they doing their work. So hopefully we'll see a super Biggie coming back here to the ring pretty soon.
Fingers crossed. Well, let's kick it to the women's side. Nikki, almost a superhero, wins the women's briefcase.
she cashed in the Monday Night Raw right after, right?
Yeah, because the women's briefcase could not be held on to for longer than 48 hours.
Yeah. She beat Charlotte Flair too, which was a thing. And
It
then didn't
happened.
Charlotte win it right back too, or
Sure did.
Yeah.
That's her 6,000th women's championship reign that she got.
Oh boy.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up in the moment there, Pierce. I would have forgotten totally that Nikki Ash/Cross was ever a women's champion in WWE.
I mean, she is super talented and should have probably gotten a run as Nikki Cross, not Nikki ASH.
Right. Totally agree. I feel like that run that Nikki Ash had was almost kind of like a pat on the back, being like, thank you for playing stupid with us. Here's your prize. And then she's playing staring contest with the camera, a few months to a year later. And now she's hiding behind a mask. And we still have yet to hear anything from her, but we're hoping the best.
Oh, we're getting there.
Mm.
Heard from Rowan in an incredible promo. Not the topic today, but just want to shout that out.
That was a great promo. They're doing a slow burn for this. I mean, I talked about it last week with you guys. I was kind of conflicted to the sense where it's like, you got to get these guys in the ring soon. You got to get like a reason to be invested in these guys. But the videos have been hitting. The videos have really been hitting. So I'm in that little like limbo spot right now where it's like I want to let it play out, or maybe I don't want to let it play out because it's kind of taking a little bit long. But the clip with Rowan this past week was very, very good. Must watch if anyone hasn't watched it yet.
Let's kick it to the main event of Money in the Bank 2021. Hometown boy for Donnie got beaten in the 4-year reign of Roman in a great match. It was a great match, but Roman wasn't going to lose yet.
One of only two men that he was willing to roll over for since his return. His other being Christian. But anyways.
But we're going to segue into what we're talking about today. At the end of the show, Roman is celebrating, and some trumpets come over. The crowd comes alive. John Cena returns for the first time in a year or two in front of a live crowd, challenges Roman for SummerSlam. And to segue into it, we're talking about my childhood hero, favorite wrestler from childhood, John Cena. Talked about him last week, but now let's talk about some other childhoods, guys.
Ride the hot hand, Pierce. You can start us off here. What do you got as far as earliest fan memory, favorite wrestler growing up, first live show? Like, what are you feeling? What do you want to talk about?
I mean, let's start with earliest fan memory. What do you guys remember from when you were a child?
Oh man, my first memory of any wrestling show probably was clips of WCW Worldwide. It was kind of like WCW's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like their Sunday Night Heat or like their Velocity or something like that. But I remember there being advertising for this guy, this jobber who they had back in the day named the Gambler. And for some reason, I don't know why, but like It's the Gambler and the Ultimate Warrior. And I see these guys on TV on separate promotions, and I'm like, I don't know what it was. It drew me to it, and then I was just kind of watching because I didn't have cable or anything growing up, so I just kind of had to make do with local TV and WCW Worldwide until SmackDown came on UPN at the time, and yeah, and then I started watching weekly. Still didn't have cable because I was a poor, but still able to make out matches with Triple H and The Rock back in the late Attitude Era there, and definitely got hooked through the beginning of the Invasion storyline, back when you had WCW and ECW corroborating, trying to overthrow the WWF, making some of the best memories that I can recall as a fan. I mean, Austin coming through with his truck, just beating the shit out of the Alliance at the time, and then nobody saw the turn coming when he joined up with WCW and ECW to take on the WWF. I mean, later on in life, you kind of have your opinion of it, right? Like, you understand more of like why you couldn't get Goldberg or why you couldn't get Sting in, I think they have a whole documentary on it, actually. Some who killed WCW on some Vice network. I don't know, but like,
well, do you know why they couldn't get Sting specifically?
do I know? I don't know.
There was the Rock's promo where he was like, "Who in the blue hell are you, Booker?" And he just buried him.
Oh yeah.
And Sting's like, "Nope, I'm not coming now."
Yeah, fuck all that. No, I don't blame him. I mean, when you consider Sting's catalog and just like what he meant to the sport, like being right up there, basically like as Flair's successor, and that's
franchise for a reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, when you take WCW off the air and Ric Flair is your final opponent and he wants you there, like that says more than enough about you, But I mean, I would say that would be my earliest memory as a fan. It's just getting into the characters. It was never really about. I mean, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. Oh, sorry, did I get to
redacted?
Thank you, Donnie. Sorry, Spotify, please accept us. I didn't say it. I didn't mean it. But no, you get Kurt Angle, Taz, Ben, Eddie, guys who put in the work, and I started to appreciate them more. But for me, it was just all about the colorful characters, and I'm glad that you have a good fusion of both in current products now. I'm glad that people are starting to catch the hint that, you got to have something for everyone. And I mean, business is booming right now. And it's great to see, not just WWE in a secondary or even a tertiary promotion, but you have like everywhere, right? Like it's WWE, it's MLW, it's TNA again, it's AEW and to some extent Ring of Honor, like so. Yeah, I feel like it was definitely something that Where was I going with this? Oh shoot, I'm rambling on. I'm all done rambling on.
You're good.
Donnie Pierce, take it from me.
I just wanted to comment. I wanted to comment something there really quick. Talking about how wrestling's kind of everywhere now. Did you guys see that announcement yesterday from the Call of Duty team, where season 5 of Call of Duty they have the operators for Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, and Rey Mysterio? Because what's better to shoot down terrorists in Call of Duty than with the 619?
If you can't fucking say booyaka after you shoot down a helicopter, what are we doing here, boys?
Or just,
oh man,
does the little rotation and then just kicks an ICBM back the other way, back into Russia or whatever.
I did see that Cody Rhodes looks like he's getting like his Crossroads as a finishing move. So even though in the trailer they show Rhea doing it, which I thought was a little strange, but it's okay.
So how are you putting finishing moves in Call of Duty? Like, is that supposed to be like if you're like doing
finishers
CQCs
in the game?
Yeah, so it's like stealth, like a stealth kill. Yeah. So it's like when you sneak up behind them and do a melee, it's like a finishing like special move kind of thing that they do. They've been doing it since the most recent, like the first Call of Duty reboot, the Modern Warfare reboot. But
that shows how much I know. Yeah, I've been pretty much out of gaming now for a year or so, and especially with like Call of Duty, I feel like, I mean, I got my own opinions on kind of how they've been, and I've been giving the reboot a chance, admittedly, but it's just been one of those where I'm just like, it's like Fortnite and like League of Legends to me, or like I don't know, any one of those other bigger like sandbox or MMO type games.
Oh yeah,
I'm just
it's
like,
mindless stuff. Don't get me wrong, but what better to take down some Rooskies and then afterwards go whoa, just like Cody would intend it to be.
yeah, he's not called the American Nightmare for nothing. When World War III kicks off, boys, you know who
Front
I want on
lines.
that? You want to know who I want on my poster? Cody Rhodes.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Going back on subject though, if we're talking about some of the early childhood memories for me. So I told you guys about this one, but to the listeners at home, one of my first ones I remember is WWF. In the early '90s, they would do like their house show tour. This is before even Raw was a thing, and at Maple Leaf Gardens, that's where the Toronto Maple Leafs used to play. One of the oldest arenas in North America now. They would always run a show on Boxing Day. And I'm talking about on this day. It's not quite the same day, but I just Googled the card just to see what it was out of curiosity. And the last time I would have gone was December 26, 1990. It was a matinee show. It wasn't even like in the evening, it was during the day. And the main event was Hulk Hogan and Tugboat defeating Earthquake and Dino Bravo. So I'm surprised Hulk
Wow.
Hogan actually worked a house show, to be honest with you, but.
That That's a
Yeah,
pretty interesting main event.
in spite of
Yeah.
being the real American, Hulkster's definitely given a lot of love to Toronto, I feel.
Yeah, he's had some big moments in Toronto in his career. Obviously, you know, him and The Rock had one of the biggest ones in wrestling history. But yeah, he's had some good performances in Toronto in his time. But that's my earliest memory. But I mean, I was as a child of the Attitude Era, so like having that on Monday nights, my parents were, depending on how you want to interpret this, great parents or not great parents to the point where they let me watch Monday Night Raw each week during the Attitude Era, and my grandfather, he would record the pay-per-views on VHSs. Again, sorry to the people who are young listening to this, but he would record them and mail them off to me, and I would watch them like a few days later when he'd get it delivered to us from the post office. So those are the early memories here. I was actually also a big fan of Redacted, to the point where the first ever wrestling shirt I owned was a Redacted shirt. After the news came out, it immediately went in the garbage. And I don't regret that at all. But
I mean, I don't blame you. You got to go with the Paul Heyman way. 3 people died. 1 person had a choice. Fuck that guy. As a
yeah,
performer, though, Redacted was insane.
it's very good.
And a banger of a theme.
Oh yeah, I mean that's Cody Rhodes' favorite band. Talking about Cody again, he loves Our Lady Peace,
And that
Oh
theme
yeah.
just is so good.
and that's who did another. There's some more Canadian content there for you. Our Lady Peace is Cody Rhodes' favorite band, and they did Redacted's theme song. So
We're getting real Canadian with it, boys.
yeah, I got to bring it back to me in some ways.
We got to get the A in the Ope-Eh.
Yeah. Eh? All right, Pierce. What about you? What do you got for us on your earliest memories?
I mean, it would have to be SmackDown. I didn't have cable TV growing up for a little bit. So, like, I remember watching SmackDown in the lead up to WrestleMania 21. I never really even saw a pay per view till like 2014. Everything I had to learn was from WWE.com back in the day. But, like, I remember Cena's rise. I remember Batista coming to SmackDown. I remember hating Edge. Like,
How dare you?
look, he beat John Cena. You can't hate me as a like 8-year-old.
He was my neighbor, man. Not really, but like in a town of 30,000 people, you're basically neighbors.
I remember CM Punk's first cash in. There's so much. Then I fell off wrestling for a little bit, as everybody does. And then the pipe bomb brought me back. So good.
Again, one of the biggest moments in wrestling history right there. Scripted or not.
I mean, I'm a Punk mark to this day. Punk did nothing wrong.
It's oh man, that would be another fun topic for a podcast another time. But man, that'd be a real fun discussion to dive into. That whole departure and return and all that stuff. That's a fun one. Maybe we'll do that if we have a show on CM Punk's birthday.
I'll talk about an ode to Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
Feel like it'd have to be a summer show.
Oh yeah,
There's been
summer
3
of
different
Punk,
summer
right? I mean, we
punks.
got to do it soon. Fuck.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cram, boys.
So you're saying you're a punk mark. That's your favorite wrestler growing up, yeah? Like more so than Cena,
I mean,
or neck and neck with
growing up,
Cena?
it was Cena and Batista, but becoming more of a teenager adult, it was CM Punk. And I mean, kind of to segue into how we got into Mania, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but CM Punk's coming back to WWE. I mean, that see him live. I've never seen him live. That's why I bought tickets. Granted, I did not see him wrestle live at this WrestleMania.
You know what's crazy? Like when I was so I kind of a little thing about me. I used to do like a little bit of MMA when I was in my early 20s because like I wrestled in high school, and like this guy opened this little rinky-dink gym not too far from where I live. They closed it down because guys being skeezy, sleeping with teenage girls that looked just like his wife, and that was a little bit of a thing. Anywho,
Yikes.
I'm trying to go back into MMA, and like I venture out to Milwaukee because you got Rufus Sport out there, right? Like Duke Rufus, renowned kickboxing coach, and like you have a lot of these guys like Ben Askren, and you have obviously the Pettis brothers who are affiliated with him and all that. So I go in there thinking like, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me, yeah. And then this would have been right prior to his Mickey Gall fight. But as I'm entering into the building and I'm at the desk talking to the gal up there, talking about what I can do to get set up, who walks by me saying bye to her, just maybe like about as far from myself as, maybe just like maybe an arm and a half's reach out. CM Punk. Sweated up after a workout, caught the glisten of him off the lights. Couldn't believe what I saw for a second. It took me a second to really process it because like you, Piers, like I was like a huge fan of Punk, like from when he came into ECW or WWE CW rather. And, I was following his career as he obviously was rising and after he left. And then I had heard he was going into UFC. And it was one of those days where like I wasn't even thinking about it. And there he is, just walks right past me. I heard his voice and then I saw his face. There was an aura around him, You could see it, you could smell it, you could almost taste it. But then he was gone, and I never saw him again until, oh God, when was it that I saw him again? It was like one other time. It's eluding me now, but boys, I tell you, it's one of those things where didn't get to shake his hand, but still, it's the things you tell your kids about someday, Not my kids, I ain't got none, but somebody's kids.
That's awesome.
That's so I guess am I the only one who's seen CM Punk wrestle live then? You guys are both big
Pause?
Punk fans, and you guys haven't seen him live wrestle, like an actual match?
Well, to be fair, my first outing, I think, was after, if I'm not mistaken, when the first NXT taped, like the game show NXT out in Milwaukee there. I want to say that's after he had already gone.
No, he
Or am
left
I
in
wrong?
2014. Game show NXT was 2010, but I think he was hurt at that point doing commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I definitely did not see him wrestle. I saw Bryan Danielson wrestle, which was sweet. I saw him wrestle Chris Jericho, do a few suicide dive skis on him in one of his first ever televised WWE matches. So that was neat. And then after that got done, they were taping Superstars, and then here comes Matt Hardy doing his like arms out, grippy hands thing, towing the Great Khali behind him in a tag match, and that was the strangest shit I ever did see. But that was my first wrestling show. As someone who's been a fan as long as I have been. Again, I was a poor.
What a show!
I mean, there was a SmackDown somewhere in there too. Don't get me wrong, But oh man, I wish I could remember exactly. I don't know if it was Dolph Ziggler as champion or something like that. Dolph Ziggler, I think, was in there somewhere. But the biggest takeaway I had from that show was definitely the first ever NXT taping, and saying that I was there for that.
My first tape show, I'm like actively on Google here, was September 16th, 2011. Edge Appreciation Night in Toronto. Meanwhile, Mark Henry is being set up to perhaps be a credible world champion as his match against Randy Orton at Night of Champions grows closer. So, yeah, that's the era that I would have had my first live show.
Pain was great.
That was a great era.
Hall of Pain era was good. He's actually they're doing an A&E documentary for him this weekend. Mark Henry, funny enough, I've been seeing the ads for it this week.
Yeah, I've seen them doing ads for that.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to watch. It's because of all of his.
Dude's an anomaly.
Strongman era, like absolutely incredible. But
I just want to see what that guy eats.
Oh, I have. Sorry,
live cow.
I just want to know how many calories that man puts away every single day. Ryback's got the feed me more gimmick, but like Mark Henry, even from being in high school, and maybe even younger, just being as beastly strong as he was.
The world's strongest man wasn't a gimmick. He did win a strongman competition.
He did.
He still holds some records. He never really took the strongman side of it seriously. Well, he did, but he never took one thing as his main thing. He was in WWE and he didn't win the world title till 2011. He'd been there for 15 years. And strongman, he just said, fuck it. In 2002, he's like, I'm going to do the Arnold for the first ever Arnold, and he just wins gold.
He did a certain kind of strongest man competition, though, right? Didn't he do
the Arnold?
Okay, no, but I was thinking he did something where it was there was something specific about it, the way that he did it. He basically did it in a clean point. It was no steroids or anything like that. Whereas back then it wasn't as regulated or something like that.
Mm.
So that's why he retired from Olympic competition, right? Something about he just got tired of people using steroids or whatever.
Anyways. I could see that because I don't see Mark playing dirty. I mean, he also lifted that massive dumbbell too, the Thomas Inch dumbbell. Yeah. They had WWE, I know, featured it on their YouTube channel a while back. Where, right, it's one of those things where it's like I don't know if you fellas watch Futurama, but it's like a nibbler shit. It doesn't look like it's heavy, but you try to lift the thing and it's like, oh man, it's apparently it's 172 pounds or something to that effect. Which for a dumbbell, man, that is. To pack all that into that little spot is, and then just for what he did, I think, which is he pressed it over his head, just clean, just lifted it up and then just stabilized his body. That's insane. Coming from someone who, just does a little lifting in his free time, I can barely do anything with hundos, and then just to see someone just take a 172, basically twice that, and just crazy. Madman.
He was a beast.
You guys want to get into
my first show then?
Yeah, your first show, yeah.
Fastlane 2017. So I didn't get to go to a show till pretty late, but I got to see the end of Kevin Owens' Universal title reign.
Ugh.
I got to see the end of. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just remember that was a thing. No, sorry.
The first time Goldberg got to bury somebody right before Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Won't be the last.
Nope.
Got to see Braun Strowman lose clean to Roman. I didn't think that was a good idea back then. Turned out okay.
Oh, for Roman, yeah.
I saw a banger of a cruiserweight title match. It was Neville and Jack Gallagher. Those two stole the show. It was so good.
Yeah, shame about what happened with Jack Gallagher, but like him and Neville were definitely the high spots, two of the high spots in the cruiserweight division at the time.
But I mean, I think it may have been the last pay-per-view at the Bradley Center. So, I mean, it was a fine show live. Sure, it's not well liked looking back, and I can understand why. But what's next on the docket, Donnie?
Well, we can talk about what made us decide to go to Philly. I guess I can kick that one off since I'm got the hot hand here. So I've been lucky that I talked about briefly not being into wrestling for a stint, and that was basically from like mid 2000s all the way to the pandemic. Honestly, that I was out of wrestling and got back in because there was nothing else to watch live on TV. And once stuff started getting back into shows, my girlfriend and I, she wanted to do some vacations, and I was like, "Hey, look, there's a big show coming to Nashville. Didn't you always want to go to Nashville?" So we went to Nashville for SummerSlam 2022, and then I was like, "Hey, didn't you say you wanted to go to Montreal for a weekend? We have a holiday weekend, and look, Elimination Chamber's happening then, so go to Montreal for the weekend." Went to LA for Mania. So it basically kind of turned this whole thing into, if there's a wrestling event in a place that we want to go to and the timing kind of works out, stars kind of align, whatever, that's what gets us there. So Philly was our second consecutive WrestleMania trip. Not our first time in Philly. We had gone one other time. Almost died on the way there because we decided to drive through flash flooding and almost got crushed by a truck, but we did not, and that's why we're still doing this show. But it was nice going back to Philly. I like the city of Philly. I've always found people there tend to be quite friendly. I like the historic vibe on the East Coast. I have not gone to the West Coast. I don't know if I ever will. But
You
yeah,
sure you've never been to the West Coast?
The West Coast of Philly, like West.
I was
Philly.
gonna say.
Oh, West Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't know why I said coast.
Born and raised.
Yeah. Broad Street's as far west as I've gone. But yeah, so we just kind of turned it into an annual thing now. And obviously with Mania being in Vegas next year, we'll be there for sure for that too. But yeah, it wasn't a super complicated decision. It was just a case of, her and I are both still into wrestling. I am more than she is, but she likes going to the live shows. So I just said, "Hey, do you want to go to Philly next year?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." It's not one of the cities I don't want to go to. So that's how we ended up there.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I've been meaning to ask. So you and your gal, like, did you meet when you met? Like, were you both aware of the fact that you were wrestling fans, or like, did you kind of bring that up in conversation as it came along?
She's piggybacked off my fandom, essentially, right? So I actually, I was like, okay, so now that I think about the timeline a little bit more, I was like very, very passively into it a little bit before the pandemic, but like not watching it weekly by any stretch. It was basically just like seeing what would happen at pay-per-views, but not even watching them or whatever. And that's when SummerSlam 2019 was in Toronto. I didn't go to that, but I did go to the Monday Night Raw that night, or that weekend, I should say. And I asked her if she wanted to go. She's like, "No, you'll never see me go and watch wrestling. I have no interest in going to watch wrestling." So that was like the point that she was at there. But once we started moving in together and, I was at that point watching it on weekly television, things like that. That's when it kind of got like a little bit more acceptable because it's like, oh, it's on the TV. Let's see what it is. Oh, this person looks neat. Oh, this person's interesting. Oh, this storyline is entertaining. She really got into the whole Sami Uso, Sami Zayn storyline. That's what kind of like stuck with her the most to get into actually watching the content more. So so that would have been late 2021 into 2022.
Mm.
So yeah, she sorry, late 2022 into 2023. She was still like passive even when we went to SummerSlam in Nashville. She was just more for the Nashville trip. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she just kind
Oh,
of said
Nashville.
something that was on TV and got into it as a result. And now she owns almost as many wrestling shirts as I do, mostly Cody Rhodes.
Look at that.
Literally just how people get into wrestling. Oh, it's on TV.
Yeah, and then you just start getting a vibe for it.
Yeah, that's how it happened for me. You know.
Then eventually you'll go to the house shows dressed up like Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been done. We've done that. We've done that
Yeah,
multiple
that's some
times.
quality that was some quality content you were posting there, Donnie. Seeing you on the
Yeah.
gram.
Yeah, I got some good wrestling content on my Instagram. When we were in Philly, we did WWE World on the Friday. So before I would have met you guys, and I dressed as Seth Rollins, and Marta dressed as Becky Lynch, the man, and we were coming around, and it was we actually got interviewed multiple times. Once by Fanatics, once by like an Australian streaming service, which was
Really?
kind of neat. Yeah, Binge is apparently like the Netflix in Australia. Is
Oh,
a thing
no
called
shit.
Binge. They interviewed us. Yeah, so you kind of like here and there we do the outfits for different shows. I may or may not have the entire John Cena getup tucked away for Halloween this year, but I will not
My
confirm
roommate did
until
that a couple
Or
years
every
ago.
year. Oh, he did John Cena.
He did 2008 Rumble John Cena, and I mean he looks
Hell
exactly
yeah.
like him. So I got a little sad after seeing the retirement. I was like, well, how the fuck is he going to pay for the house now?
oh man. But that's for me. That's what my Philly experience was before meeting you guys. So someone take the ball from me.
I'll
All right.
take it.
There goes
Uh,
Spears.
I like I said, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. I wanted to see it. Bought the tickets. I mean, it's a couple weeks before my birthday. I'm like, I'm going to give myself a birthday present this year. Bought
Oh
my
yeah.
tickets, flew out on the Thursday, got off the plane, got my car, and then went to WWE World after 2 flights. I mean, I didn't do too much at WWE World. That Thursday, after I got to my hotel, I kind of just chilled out for the night. That Friday, went back to WWE World and WrestleCon. I got to meet Kurt Angle. I got to meet the Acclaimed. I got to hold the AEW Trios titles with them. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
When I went to WWE World, they were doing the Fanatic stage, which is where they were doing their auction stuff, and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory were up there.
Well, you
Uh,
probably saw me there then because Grayson Waller
yep,
talked shit about me when I showed up.
yep.
Is that why
Which
you
is
wear a
funny.
shirt
I was
now,
going to
Donnie?
bring that up. Is that Donnie and his lady walked up and then immediately got shit talked. I mean, I was catching strays too. Those guys made me fans that day because they were just so entertaining up there.
Well, I feel like
Saturday.
that's.
Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just gonna quick little chime in. Like I was gonna say, that's what's gonna keep them after they, if and when they split. If they're just so naturally that charismatic and that they can connect with fans that easily. I mean, Waller being the obvious heel, but then Theory hopefully can do either side of the coin, open for a really good face run out of him. But no, that's awesome though. That's that they can make that kind of memory, that kind of an impression.
They were just ridiculously entertaining. Waller is very off the cuff, and I liked that.
Waller's great. I think at Stand and Deliver before Mania 39. So this is in LA. I may have been the only person at the crypto arena in LA wearing a Grayson Waller t-shirt, and I did not mind because like I'm a big fan of that guy, and that's how I had to slide him into the Cena prediction last week on the pod. But I think Grayson's very very entertaining for a heel. I don't think he'll ever be a good face. I don't think he's built that way, but
You
Yeah,
never
that'd be
know.
a weird. it'd be a weird flex, but I mean, yeah, it's it's hard to say. Like, I mean, yeah, some people are just more naturally healed. It's kind of like the Miz. Like, when the Miz came out, I never saw him turning face. He was just so fucking hateable and punchable in every which way. And I'm like, but now you have, him doing good lucha things, and how many times has he been Intercontinental Champion, and people loved him. I want to say at least through like a good third of it, but that's more than I would have ever figured for him.
Yep.
So yeah, who's to say with Grayson Waller?
I mean, to piggyback off that, did you guys ever see MJF doing a face?
Not for long. Not like a pocket of time, but which it kind of was, but like
It was and it wasn't. He was still doing like he wasn't even say he was like a true face. He was still very much like a tweener or like getting all the low hanging fruit jokes in and still doing the dirty stuff in the ring, right? Like
right, but he said it. He wasn't just any scumbag. He was our scumbag, Donnie.
yeah, it's okay. The fans
So we
still will be
love
chanting
him.
that for the next 6 months, even though he's clearly a heel again.
Oh yeah, he's an asshole right now, but asshole MJF's the best. Anyway, that Saturday, met some more people at WrestleCon and then took one of the buses to the tailgate. I had the non-VIP, and I may or may not have snuck into the VIP. Sorry, Jimmy's Famous Seafood.
They had no security there the first day. It was a bit of a joke, honestly.
Yeah, but that's how I met Donnie. We started having some drinks. Mojo Rawley did this contest for this big karaoke stereo thing, and I won. And I asked the guy, how am I going to take this home? I cannot take this on a plane. I cannot take this in a stadium.
Why did they not? Whose idea was that for that tailgate to think, you know what, we're going to give away to these wrestling fans that are traveling from all across North America, potentially the world, to see WrestleMania. We're going to give them a giant fucking stereo. Like, who thought of that?
Imagine rolling up to check in with that shit. Yeah. Rolling up with a dolly and that thing strapped on. Be like, what?
It was huge.
But then we went to night one, had a great time. It was a little cold. It was very cold. It was terrible, but being honest. I know living in Wisconsin, I should be used to it, but that wind was rough, especially where I was sitting. What about you guys?
Cold as
a little
shit.
breezy.
And we weren't dressed the way that we should have.
I had to button up my flannel, but yeah, even then I'm just sitting there just clenched up and like not wanting it to end, but kind of like, when the fuck do we get moving,
That main event was so long for how cold we were. Like Marta was having a miserable time because she was like, they're just going so slow. And you watch that match back now and you're like, this is a great match. But when you're in that stadium watching that tag match, the end of night one, it's just like, holy fuck, it's so cold and they're going so slow.
Can't imagine how it was for them down there too. I mean, they're under the lights, so I guess that balances things out. But like,
The Rock
I'm
wasn't
watching
sweating.
them. I just can't imagine like knowing it's going to be like 55, whatever degrees or below, and then being like, okay, I'm going to get in my underwear, right? And then I'm going to do a little jiggle around for like 20 to 30 minutes. And
I'm going to pour some water over my head.
Roman's still dumping the bottle of water over his head. Keep his
absolute madman.
And they showed up and showed out despite it being so cold. So tip of the cap to those men. Let's get to night two. Go back to the tailgate. Sit with Donnie having some beers.
Actual VIP this time, even though we paid VIP for both. It was actually VIP this time.
Well, I traded my stereo for free VIP. I should say that.
Yep. Smart call.
And we're having some drinks. Somebody starts talking about Wisconsin, and I'm like, through my head, I was like, oh, I'm from Wisconsin. Where are you from? Oh, so-and-so. I'm like, oh, I'm from so-and-so. Then we start talking about a bar that we used to frequent in the same area in the middle of fucking Philadelphia, 100 feet
It
away
was
from
a
Lincoln Financial Field.
very small world. Oh, I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Like, I mean, me like getting out there, like I saved up, I bought tickets like 6 months prior, and I'm like, if I ever go to any one WrestleMania in my life, this has to be the one because you could just feel like there's going to be something special about it, even way back, right? So then I get there, and right, it's WrestleMania night two. I was trying to
Thank
be a
you,
little
Rock, by the way. Sorry, thank you, Rock, for having
Yeah,
given
sorry.
such a special
God, how
event.
could I have forgotten to give my thanks to the Dwayne?
Dwayne
Yes,
the
thank
Dwayne
you.
Dwayne.
Muchas gracias, Senor Dwayne, for everything and anything you do. All your contributions to the wide, wide world of wrestling with your
Oh man.
rockiness. But no, getting out
He's a
there
big
and
rock fan.
just getting out there and like not trying to spend as much because I wanted to be conservative, right? Because I was getting merch and stuff for the family and already went, every which way out in the Pennsylvania area there. But then I hear that at the tailgate and I'm like, that ain't shit, like whatever, I ain't going in there. But then I see, and I skipped over guys like Ric Flair. I skipped over, Mandy Rose and all that, which I mean, that would have been an interesting encounter. Like I wouldn't know what else to say with her besides like, hi, I've seen you naked. But
Yeah, we saw her on Saturday. We saw her Saturday.
You don't want to do that.
no, I don't want to do it, but
I did not ask Mandy Rose anything about that kind of stuff. I did see her at the tailgate on the Saturday. I know, Pierce, you were there, but
Yeah,
we did get the
we had a
VIP
passing
perk of
glance.
we did get the VIP perk of seeing Mandy Sachs on the Saturday, and she was very pleasant, but that was all. So
that was all.
that was all. Can't say anything else.
Saving your face there, Don. Yeah, we are recording, so
Yes, sir.
it's fine. Loud and clear, 10-4. But I see it was so I pass over all these people. Like I seen Ric Flair walk by me as they were doing the stand and deliver recording or whatever. It was during commercial break. And then Flair is standing up and talking and they want like $100 or something to go in there to talk to him. I'm like, whatever. Like I was never a huge Flair mark. But then they get Mojo up there on the stage outside, and then Mojo brings up Kurt Angle, and then they're doing a meet and greet down in the pit area there. I'm like, fuck. It's $150 though. Fuck. And I was spinning around in circles, literally outside the fence there, and the security are probably just watching me, thinking, something they got to put a tag on or something. Then I finally just up and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I love Kurt Angle's one of my top 3 wrestlers, bar none. And, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm never going to get this chance again. Probably not anyways. You never know. But it's WrestleMania season and you got to go balls out. So I pay the $150 right there. No regrets. Get in line. Go meet Kurt Angle. Shake his hand. And it was weird because, like, with Kurt, I figured being an Olympic gold medalist and being, like a former Greco-Roman wrestler and being a wrestling, a world-class wrestler, pro wrestler, his whole life, even after his folk style freestyle career were over. I figured his grip would have been stronger, but he grabs my hand and I thought he would have crushed it. So it was mildly disappointing. I'm like, this is a little more feathery than I wanted it to be. But I mean, it was, it was just still like, I just was so gobstruck by just standing next to Kurt Angle, shaking his hands, looking him in the eyes for like a few seconds before he got pictures. And definitely something I'll remember forever. And then, of course, the other thing I remember forever is meeting you fellas. Like you were saying, Pierce, like I was jaw jacking with some guy from Ohio and his kid. And then you heard me talking about Wisconsin. And then we kind of got to talking there. And then there's that other guy who I was kind of hoping was going to be a part of this whole adventure too. But we couldn't find him. What's his name? The big guy. You know who I'm talking about.
The guy who did win the beer drinking contest.
I'll be honest with you, Chief. I never learned his name. He was just kind of there with us for me.
I don't even know if I can call out his name. I really want to, though. He's in the pictures and he's in the memories, but I'm like, man, it's just, he's the one that got away,
Was it AJ Francis? Is that who you're talking about?
AJ Francis.
No, I think he was busy doing the TNA Slammiversary presser today, so I don't think he could have been part of this anyways. But
AJ
He's
Mojo,
very
if you're
nice.
listening, come on the pod.
yeah, he'll be once he hits longest reigning TNA digital media champion. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to humor us with a little bit of shits and gigs. But yeah, no, that was great. Like, I mean, I had to show you boys how Wisconsin. Well, who am I showing to Pierce? Like, Pierce, you know how we Wisconsinites we drink beer, yeah.
I wasn't planning on drinking that much. I already had 4 mixed drinks, and then I just started pounding those Yinglings. In the tailgate, I think I had 11 or 12 drinks.
Free Yingling? You say no more. You know, it's free beer. Like, you already paid $150 to get your fill of pasta salad and,
Well,
you know.
I didn't that day. I paid $110 the day before to get into the tailgate. But I mean, hey, if it makes you feel better, paying the $150. I paid $80 for a picture with Kurt Angle at WrestleCon on Saturday, and then got to meet him for free on Sunday. So,
Wow. Well, I mean, if that was your intention, then mission failed, I guess. But yeah.
Mission failed successfully, right?
Whatever helps you sleep at night, bub. whatever gets you the W.
I got to meet him twice. Fuck you guys.
You got me. That was a fun tailgate, honestly. Like, I know, like we paid VIP for both, so that wasn't that cheap. But like, and the first day, the VIP perks weren't the best. I had to be with all the plebs the first day. No offense to any plebs that were there.
Music was on point, though.
But it was a good time, and like they had some decent talent there, even that wasn't headliners, right? Like I had a good conversation with Powerhouse Hobbs. He was super nice. I had to talk to another Canadian and Taya Valkyrie there. There's who else was there? Oh my goodness, there was a couple other people. We talked to AJ Francis the day after, but there's another one that who was the? Oh man, I can't remember her name, and this is gonna bug me. But she was the backstage response for NXT, and she got let go most recently, like early this year. She's married to Vic.
God.
What's her name? She was really good. And it was actually kind of
she's married to who?
She got Vic, the lead for NXT.
Oh, to Vic Joseph?
Yeah. And she was there too, but she was super nice too. So, like they was a really, well put together for like getting some people in there, taking care of the people that were there, like plenty of food, plenty of drink, no issues there. Like I'd do another one of their tailgates again if they did Vegas for 41.
Is it Mackenzie Mitchell?
Mackenzie Mitchell, that is her name. Thank you.
Oh, yep.
Google machine, helpful as always.
Yeah. Mackenzie Mitchell, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there were a ton of people that I met. Like, Miz almost ran me over at WWE World. I saw Kofi playing video games, and let's see, I got, my dad asked me to get a Jake the Snake Roberts autograph for him. I met Chris Van Vliet. That was a big one. I mean, not super big for wrestling.
Did you get the Jake the Snake autograph? You kind of left that on a hanger. Oh, good. I did. Hell yeah.
He wasn't super talkative. I think I can understand why, but he was nice enough. He was cordial. I'm trying to think. Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is super fucking cool.
Can't wait to see him in NXT soon.
Hope.
Yeah, that's coming.
For being friends with CM Punk, allegedly.
But he's friends with Cody Rhodes, though, is he not?
Yeah, he got in shit for that too when he went to the Rumble and got booked for it.
It's just a shame, boys.
But that was a good group of people. I found that too, like just WrestleMania. It brings out so much talent from obviously, main roster. You have everybody there for WWE World, which is really cool. But WrestleCon and all the other side events that happen there too. Like there's just if you're a wrestling fan and you're always on the fence about wanting to go to a Mania, like go. You don't even have to do all the big expensive stuff if you don't want to. You can just kind of do a local show here and there, maybe go to one night of Mania if that's what you can afford or whatever. But you're bound to see all kinds of talent all over the place. And the vibes are so good. Like one of the things I talked to my partner about this, we've done a bunch of different wrestling shows and events and stuff. And just the vibes and talking to wrestling fans it's generally so pleasant because I think everybody kind of knows that we're into something that's a little bit niche still and something that, some people still might feel like they should judge from time to time. And I don't really get that, but people are assholes. Guys. Yeah, people are assholes, right? But everybody who's there, like Enrique, who was also at the tailgate, I got him to come in on the Saturday. I think you guys saw him, or Pierce, at least you would have seen him on the first day.
Yeah, he was a super nice dude.
Yeah, like everybody's just so nice and friendly. And
shout out Enrique, by the way.
Yeah, Enrique. Hopefully you tune into one of these. But it's just such a good vibe because everyone's just happy to be there, happy to be part of history, happy to be part of a cool event, like anybody who's remotely considering going to Mania and just is like, oh, it's a little bit expensive. See what you can do to make it work. Pull the what the talent does, like sell hot dogs to get you into the arena or whatever, get in a side job or whatever. Just you deserve it, and you'll have a great time in doing it, and you'll definitely not regret it.
I thought I was only going to go to one, and now I want to go to every year Mania. Sorry for cutting you off there, Brandon, but
no, Paul was the big guy. Baltimore Paul. It just came out. Yeah, get your ass over here, Paul, if you can hear us. Jump on the cast one of these days, maybe, if you want to. But no, I agree wholeheartedly with you too. Like, I feel like now since this Mania, like I myself, like I don't really talk wrestling with much of anybody. Never really have. It's always kind of been like my closet hobby, even though it's been like one of the biggest interests I've maintained throughout like my whole life. So just like getting there and just randomly run into and meet you guys, like Donnie, you're the only Canadian I've ever known. And that's weird coming from, someone who's been up to the Yoop and like, obviously we're not that far apart geographically. None of us are.
No.
But just like getting to meet these people from all over who share that same interest and that same love, and we all have a great vibe and we're all having good drink skis, and, now we're just sitting here. We came about doing a podcast. Like, I think it's just crazy. I think it's fantastic. I think wrestling, who said it? I'm sure multiple people have said it, but wrestling brings people together.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm having a hell of a time, just staying in contact with you boys and like getting this podcast off the ground, just shooting the shit about something that we all love.
Whose idea was this? It wasn't my idea. I'm not taking credit. Brandon's.
Because I took it as like a stars aligning moment, because I was, I don't know why, I was feeling good one night. I was out on the town. I was at probably my local watering hole. Where the hell did I even, hold up? Oh yeah.
I remember you texted.
I posted, yeah, I'm looking at the Insta, and I pulled up the picture, and I'm like, always remember, you fucks. And it was like all of us standing with Mojo Rawley and like, brewskis in hand. Like, it was just a moment in time, and then it kind of, we were talking about going to Mania next year, which I'm pinching my pennies for. I know that for a fact.
I got the hotel booked. I'm there. I don't give a shit. Considering I got a hotel for as cheap as I did, I'm losing money by not going, as far as I'm concerned. So I will be there.
That's a good way. That's a good way to see it, Donnie. But yeah, I think, what the hell? Where did it come from?
Yeah, you just fired it up one night. You're just like, oh,
like, I'm drunk.
Yeah. The next day, drunk thought, we should do a wrestling podcast or a YouTube channel. We should just fucking do it. And then Donnie's just like, yeah, I've always considered it. And then I jumped in on Pierce because Pierce wasn't responding fast enough. And he's like,
it's like midnight. And I was fucking asleep. I woke up the next day. And I'm like, well, it's funny because Donnie's lady friend Marta was like talking. We were talking. And she's like, you and Donnie should do a podcast while we were
She
at the
did.
tailgate.
She
And
did
now
say
we're
that.
here.
As it happens, yeah, here we be, boys.
That's fun. It's fun just like getting on with the boys and just talking about stuff that you're interested in, right? Like, and
Having
it's funny
fun.
because yeah, I mean, we're 3 shows in now. Basically, we're just about to wrap up this one, and we've been bouncing ideas back and forth on different ideas for shows, and as we've been going from topic to topic here, we've been kind of deviating on this stuff, but it feels good talking to you guys. Like I'm having a good time on a Thursday night, just sitting here shooting the shit with the boys about professional wrestling.
I mean, shit, like a month ago, me and Brandon got together with some of our friends for some beers. We invited you out, but Donnie, where the fuck were you, man?
Yeah, I also invited you to Money in the Bank, so
You did invite me to Money in the Bank at Mania.
yeah.
Shit. Fair shot. Fair shot.
Uh, yeah, the Deweys won't let me go, I'm afraid. Well, they wouldn't let me go. We're past tense now, but yeah, living like a true Wisconsinite over here. Pierce, I'm going to have to, well, never mind. I'm not going to spill my beans on the podcast in case
Don't
there's
need to
any,
dox ourselves.
That's okay.
the
No,
Mount,
that's okay.
the,
There's
the
lots of
Mountie
shows
won't get his man this time.
there's lots of shows that can come by your guys' way. Like I said, I already know I'll be at Mania 41, assuming the tickets aren't $1,000 a pop for nosebleeds. I don't see why I won't be there.
Shit, fly
Would you,
into Wisconsin and drive with me and my roommate for Royal Rumble. We're like 95% sure we're going.
how long's the drive from where you are to the Rumble?
About 5 hours. It's not bad.
I mean, I could just fly to it's Minnesota, right? Or is it
Indian.
Indy.
Indianapolis?
It's Indy.
Okay, I always mix those in Minneapolis, Indianapolis. Okay, if it's Indy, I'd probably just fly into Indy if I've got the.
Either way, I'm about 95% sure I'm going to go, even if my roommate doesn't go. I mean, it's right there. I can take off a half day on a Friday, be home Sunday,
Yeah, I think that's a good thing about the Saturday shows. Is I don't even have to miss any work if I don't want to. I can fly
Yeah,
in.
Saturday shows have been a fucking lifesaver.
Yeah, I could fly in that morning or the Friday night, have a night or two in the city, and then just fly out Sunday. Oh, actually, I don't think about it. I got a lot of travel coming up in the tail end of the year, and then knowing that Mania is around the corner too, I'll have to see if I can make it all work out. But that's not a terrible idea. It's a pretty good idea, actually.
Sounds like
I
a very
mean,
good idea.
if the Rumble comes to Milwaukee, I think you got to fly out for it.
Do you guys have an indoor stadium though? You don't, right? Like
They can winterize it.
they can winterize it, okay? Because like now the Rumble's never going to be outside of the stadium at this point. They're never doing an arena Rumble again. So
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I like the baseball stadium rumbles. It gives that like runway a really unique look.
yep.
Well, in this area, too, they definitely would sell it out, I feel.
100%.
Toronto needs a Rumble. Honestly, Toronto needs a Rumble. That's one thing Toronto hasn't had. They've had everything else except for a Rumble.
Really?
You just got a pay-per-view. Milwaukee
Yeah, I'm
gets
not
one
saying
once every 3 years.
2026 Rumble. Put it in Toronto.
No, Milwaukee.
What's a halfway point?
Green Bay?
UP.
Escanaba?
Put it out on Lake Superior there.
Oh yeah, just put it out on the water there, eh?
Just find an
Jericho
island,
Cruise,
yeah.
Superior.
Detroit's
Find an
probably
island.
halfway, right? Oh,
Chuck them
God.
in the lake.
I don't know if I'd want to go to Detroit, but
Yeah, I don't want to go to Detroit either.
okay.
Yeah, I third that, boys.
Okay,
No
Detroit.
disrespect to Detroiters,
Yeah.
but your city
Full
sucks.
disrespect.
Hey,
You can count me in.
Apparently, it's a lot
Full
better.
disrespect.
I was terrified for my life when I was there in like 2012, but
I'll
apparently,
never step foot there.
apparently it's a lot better now. So, you guys want to talk about what we're going to do next? I think we're probably going to take an off week next week and then just get ready for SummerSlam. Is that the plan, boys?
Prediction shows, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably around the first of August, we'll do our prediction show, cover everything that we expect for a big SummerSlam 2024, and
For those of you listening,
we'll probably follow that up with a reaction show. We've been releasing stuff on Fridays. We're planning on releasing stuff on Fridays, but that one we might release a little bit beforehand, depending on availability, just to strike while the iron's hot.
I'll say this as a little spoiler. That Rhea Liv doesn't become a ladder match with dating Dominic Mysterio or custody of Dominic Mysterio and the title on the line, what are we doing here?
I think it's too soon. Unfortunately, I think it's too soon. I think we're going to end up with 2 cell matches at Bad Blood, and I think
Just want the custody of Dom ladder match, Donnie.
that's going to be one of the Hell in Cells.
I feel like we've had a good chunk of ladder matches recently. I'd be down for a Dom on a pole match though.
Judy Bagwell.
What do you think about that?
Put him in the shark
let's
cage.
give her. Fuck it. Let's go full WCW with this shit.
Let's bring back the San Francisco 49ers match where there's 4 crates and one of them has the title in it.
But we'll have a lot to talk about going into what we look to see a pretty loaded SummerSlam with definitely at least one surprise probably on the horizon. So,
hey Pierce, for the On This Day segment, can we talk the August 1 warning for that day?
The August 1 warning.
Were you not a TNA guy at that time? Were you not watching TNA on that one episode? You're not aware of the memes?
That one episode?
that singular episode of TNA. I mean, I was in and out of TNA for a long time. I mean, right now it's about as hot as it's ever been because of, Joe Hendry. Is he here?
Yeah. Oh, it was fucking hilarious. No, they were teasing this thing. They had this group called Aces and Eights, right? Trying to keep it super short. Okay, you remember Aces and Eights? And then there was supposed to be this contingency that somebody was going to bring in this big trump card on August 1st of that year, and they built it for weeks, and then it turns out being Tito Ortiz, and he just stands there menacingly on the stage as he's got his arms folded, and he's just like, I don't even know who the fuck he's looking at, if it's one of them or all of them. But they end the show with him just...
Rampage?
What's that?
Was it possibly Rampage Jackson? Because I know they were teasing that match, and then the UFC's like, yeah, and all that shit's not happening.
Yeah, Rampage was affiliated with the Aces and Eights, I believe. I think they were gonna patch him in or whatever the fuck. And then all of a sudden here comes Tito Ortiz, who's supposed to be like the kryptonite and all of this, just stands there on the stage, and then everyone for about 2 or 3 minutes is just standing there staring, and they pan at Tito, and then at Aces, then they pan at Tito, and then at Bully, they pan at Tito, and then they pan at, and they got that one shot of Mr. Anderson just scratching the back of his head, doesn't know what the fuck to do. Doesn't know how to look, but he's there. And they made a meme out of it. There was a GIF on it that was running on this one site.
Did you say GIF?
That I was watching. Is that, did I say it wrong? Is that not how you say it in Canada?
In Canada, we say GIF.
Oh, is that what it happens?
I guess
okay,
I might
sorry.
be a little more Canadian than I thought.
Okay. Maybe my international sensibilities are out of whack. I don't know.
It tickled my ears, that's all.
I used to definitely use the old GIF a lot on this streaming site called Woo. It was off of 420 channels. It was based out of Canada. I don't know if you know about it, Donnie.
No. When you say Woo, I thought you were talking about Ric Flair. Yeah, no.
It was this sub board whatever off of this site called 420 Chan. It was 4chan, but with weed and other weird themes, but it was based out of Canada. The guy who ran it went batshit after his wife left him or something. There's a whole story on that too, and I'm not going to bore you to tears with it, but it was a great site to pirate shows off of, just to watch. That's how I watched all the pay-per-views, because I was still a poor.
Ope-Eh 3-way does not condone piracy.
Nope.
No.
Not no more.
No, not in current day. Nope. Not in current year.
I'm lucky in that sense. It's wrestling's pretty accessible here in Canada. You guys need 17 different apps and 34 different cable packages to watch everything still, but just need one here. So we're kind of lucky in that sense. and still will be come January.
Yeah, keep bragging.
You guys can just like, move.
I can't
Right?
I can't go to Canada, Donnie. They won't let me. They
I
won't let me
can.
in the country, Donnie.
We'll
Maybe
figure
if I'm
something
like
out.
maybe if I'm like a state slave or something like that, then they'll figure me until I'm like 42 or whatever the age needs to be. Where there's a will, there's a way. My mama didn't name me Will though, so it's fine.
We
We'll make it happen.
calling her on this one, boys.
How the fuck did we get here? What a weird ending point, but that's how TNA in 2010 happens.
I got nothing else on the list, man. So we're capping it at TNA.
It's gonna be one of those Midwestern goodbyes, Donnie. You think you're gone, and then we just reel you back in.
Oh boy,
Love
Yep.
it and learn to love it, Donnie.
I still got nothing.
Who wants to lead us out?
That's you, buddy.
Is it always going to be me now?
Well, for now, it's your gimmick, Pierce.
Well, in that case, thanks for tuning in there to the Ope-Eh 3-Way Wrestling Podcast. Why don't you have a beer on us next time?